It's Oscar season. The Oscars are right around the corner. I want to talk about the visual effects category and the nomination for Gravity, and I think that this is the most important visual effects nomination of all time. And
really?
This could change the course of special effects heavy movies and of 3D movies if Gravity wins the award. Because all of the other nominees, they're about superheroes and spacemen and dragons, which is all great, but Gravity is an emotional story about real people interacting, and it's vital and it's important.
I have no idea how it couldn't win the prize. It's one of those things which are so locked. There's things that in a million years I could never figure out how they did certain shots.
They're not just convincing you of something that's there that's not there. They're convincing you that you're there.
Yes.
And that's really the miracle of Gravity.
Two of the movies that I thought were the best of the year weren't even nominated, and they were Inside Llewyn Davis and Ron Howard's movie Rush, which nobody saw.
I didn't even know Ron Howard made a movie named Rush.
Exactly. It just, slipped through the cracks. I don't know what's gone on with Ron Howard, but for some reason he put out an invisible movie.
I want to talk about the Best Actor category and the omission of Tom Hanks. Now, I never thought I'd see myself standing up for Tom Hanks, but I think his performance in Captain Phillips is the best acting he's ever done.
It's the best since Big, at least.
And you've got to think, when they're picking their nominees for the year, that the Academy is looking at Tom Hanks and thinking, he's won two, he doesn't need to be nominated. Give it to somebody else.
Well, they nominated Meryl Streep this year, and nobody's singing the praises of her performance.
Meryl Streep is unstoppable. She's like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
When you give her a role, there's no stopping Meryl Streep.
She's going to get a nomination, and we just move on. Yeah.
They should name Tropical Storms after her.
The thing about Captain Phillips is that you don't think it's Tom Hanks the entire time. He's a superstar. That's what happens when you see George Clooney in a movie, or Humphrey Bogart, and Marilyn Monroe. You can't take the actor out of the performance. Somehow, the director and Hanks remove Tom Hanks from the show, and so you're just watching this guy walking around a ship. It was just too good of a year for Best Actors.
Yeah.
Normally, Best Supporting Actor is the one where it's the big wrestling match, but this year it seems to be just between Leto and Michael Fassbender. I choose Fassbender.
I choose Leto. Fight!
Fight!
Transsexual kick!
Take shortcut through the pigsty!
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to The Basement. Tonight's film, as promised, is a tragic romance.
Allergies. That's why I brought these.
It is also no stranger to the famous Golden Statue.
From Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Right. This film was nominated for 8 Oscars, but won only one, for Best Black and White Cinematography. It features the most famous doomed couple of all time, if you don't count those Romeo and Juliet kids. Step out with me, Craig, onto the windswept moor as we watch Wuthering Heights.
Seen it! Laugh riot, this one.
Released in 1939, directed by William Wyler, and starring Laurence Olivier, David Niven, and sexually ambiguously named actress Merle Oberon. And that Oscar-winning black and white cinematography is courtesy of Citizen Kane master camera boy Greg Toland.
Best cinematographer ever.
This movie is nothing but prestigious. But, alas, like the story it depicts, this production knew its share of hardships. Niven and Oberon were recent ex-lovers, so that was awkward. Oberon and Olivier detested each other, and director Wyler was a fussy taskmaster who insisted on doing take after take until every shot was perfect, much to the chagrin of Olivier, the stage actor.
One and done.
On the bright side, real heather was imported from England and replanted in California to help simulate the look of the moors. I don't know if that's really a bright side, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Vivien Leigh wanted to play the lead role in this film alongside her lover and future husband, Laurence Olivier, but studio executives did not want to give the role to an actress who was largely unknown in the States. Leigh went on that year to star in an obscure little film called Gone with the Wind, which won no Oscars and is largely forgotten today. Citation needed.
That's the reason this didn't win anything. Or anything else. Didn't win anything
Because Gone
year.
with the Wind.
Got 11, I think, that year?
Right. And things were awkward in the Leigh-Olivier household.
Yes.
Lots of silent dinners at a long table.
Everything's going swimmingly with Gone with the Wind. How's Wuthering Heights? Wuthering, is that how you pronounce it? Wuthering, that's a weird word. You know what's a normal word? Wind.
Our viewing of this film tonight could set you on an entirely different path in life. If that happens, hopefully this gift will help you.
Ooh, a gift. A diploma?
That is an application to the United Kingdom's Bronte Society.
Really?
Should you wish to become a member, you just need to fill that out and send it in, and you will be a Bronte boy.
I hope if I ever go visit the Bronte Society, I come away with some sort of exotic lung infirmity that kills me when I'm in my 20s.
And you, my one true love, sneak out of your house when the moon is high in the sky and meet me on the old leather couch so we can watch
Wuthering Heights!
Man, there is so much gloaming going on right now. This gloaming is off the charts.
I can't believe they filmed this in California. They have no gloom down there, only smog.
Lockwood, a traveler, stops on a snowy evening at the foreboding doors of Wuthering Heights.
He's met by a couple of very angry dogs.
Hello, Marmaduke! He meets the distinctly unfriendly lord of the manor.
Can I get a guide from amongst your lads?
No, you cannot. I've only got one and he's needed here.
I told him we already got one. And is given lodging in a dusty, drafty old room. This room only has 5 ghosts. In the middle of the night, Lockwood sees and hears a ghost.
A woman said her name is Kathy, and she was calling for you. And Heathcliff's like, gotta go, man. And he runs out of the house. Mr. Lockwood goes downstairs and he says, what's that all about? And Ellen, the old maid, said, oh, that was just the ghost of Kathy, the former lady of the house.
So if this house is haunted by ghosts, then that dog at the beginning is Scooby-Doo.
That's right. Oh, no, a roast. Let me tell you a story.
Of the tragic past of Wuthering Heights. One day long ago, a traveling doctor brought an orphan boy to live at Wuthering Heights.
We'll call him Heathcliff.
We would have called him Garfield, but we found that he hates lasagna and loves Mondays. He gets along with the little girl that lives there, Kathy, but he becomes bitter rivals with the little boy.
It's her brother Hindley.
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 Heathcliff, look out! Don't come near me!
Dandy fight!
I'm my dad's son. You're not a son. I'm throwing a rock at you.
I don't care how long I wait, if I can only pay him back.
And Heathcliff runs off to a big rock on the moor called Penison Crag, and Kathy pursues him. Out there, they do a little play acting.
I challenge you to mortal combat, Black Knight!
Why does he have to be black?
Heathcliff, you killed him!
I've gentrified him.
They begin to fall in love.
Oh, this has to be good news.
Things aren't looking good for the old man, because he dies.
He is at peace.
Oh, that's good. But how's his health? Now who's in charge? Hindley's in charge.
And he decides to make Heathcliff's life a living hell by making him his stable boy.
Do as you're told. I'm master here now.
Now I will throw rocks at your face 3 times a day.
Heathcliff goes off to live a life of poverty in the shed next to the house, while Kathy grows to become a beautiful young woman. Heathcliff becomes a handsome young man, and Hindley becomes a drunk.
But behind Hindley's back, Heathcliff and Kathy have romantic escapades at Penistone Crag. Have you come to slay my Black Knight, so to speak? Kathy is in love with Heathcliff, but she's also in love with being a spoiled rich girl. And she has dreams of one day being a wealthy wife. She hears the sound of music in the distance. Judge Linden is throwing one of his swanky parties, and oh, wouldn't it be nice to go and look at it?
It's high society over there, so they have to climb the wall to get there. Again, a dog attack.
Damn, dog!
Oh, jeez. Come out, come out. The hounds are chewing on a gypsy.
Hold that man.
And I'll hold this woman.
How badly, Sheriff?
I can't tell you. Send Robert, get Dr. Kenneth in the shay. Hurry.
I hope she doesn't get rabies. Heathcliff swears revenge on Judge Linton, something he does quite often in the story.
I bring this house down in ruins about your heads. That's my curse on you.
He curses everyone.
And Kathy encourages Heathcliff to go off and seek his fortune so he can return to her, a wealthy man. Heathcliff tries to leave, but can't. He can't imagine a life without Kathy, and so he stays on as the stable boy, garnering the contempt of his love and further mistreatment by Hindley.
Where's Joseph? I told him to stay awake till I came home.
Jabby.
During all this, Kathy also has a wealthy suitor, Edgar Linton. Will he ever get her to forget about her love for this Heathcliff?
He was my friend long before you.
That blackguard.
Blackguard and all, he belongs under this roof, and you'll speak well of him or get out.
Again with the black distinction. Destroy the room. That's how people in movies express their anger. They trash the room. Or get naked. That works too.
Yes, that we'll take it.
No matter what I ever do or say, Heathcliff, this is me now.
Until the next time I go to a society party. Then I'll be a horrible woman to you again, but then I'll come back here. It's called manipulating.
Smell the heather.
Real heather.
And they fill each other's arms with heather, if you know what I mean. And I think you do.
Since when are you in the habit of entering my room, Heathcliff?
Since I knocked your boots at Penistone Crag.
Whimpering for them with your dirty hands.
That's all I've become to you. Pair of dirty hands.
Well, have them then!
Oh. Heathcliff is starting to unravel. Only you understand me, dirty hands. He overhears a conversation between Ellen and Kathy where she scorns him and says she could never marry a stable boy. And he rushes off into the moors. But he misses the part where Kathy says that she'll never stop loving him.
I am Heathcliff.
She runs off into the moors after him to try and get him back, but only ends up falling ill from the rain. She died of a broken heart. Or she was killed by the Black Knight. I'm not sure which.
20 drops in a glass of claret well warmed, and add a lump of sugar.
That's my drink order. What will you be having, my dear? Heathcliff is gone.
So that clears things up for Kathy to get married.
They're happy for a while, but years later, Heathcliff returns.
He's come back. Who? Heathcliff.
Heathcliff who? I know a few of them. And he's not poor anymore. No, he went off to America, and he's come back with money.
Mr. Linton.
Check these out. Yeah! Hindley is now a miserable drunk with debts, and so Heathcliff has paid off all of Hindley's debts, and he's purchased the estate. But rather than throw Hindley out on his ear, Heathcliff decides to let him live there in humiliation and shame, just as Hindley did to him as a young man.
And the brother's like, ah, ah, ah.
Edgar has a young sister, Isabella, who he's trying to get married. When Heathcliff returns, Isabella turns her eye towards him. I'm here to make things awkward. Suddenly the dogs run in and just attack.
I shall let you hold my hand underneath my fan.
Underneath your pants? Faster! Faster! Isabella has run off with Heathcliff. They're married.
Now they all live in Wuthering Heights, and it's a miserable place.
Kathy?
I was just dirtying my hands before dinner. What's up?
Hindley's still around. He's still getting drunk all the time.
He hates you worse than he does me. He loathes you. Each time you kiss him, his heart breaks with rage because it's not Kathy.
Maybe their marriage isn't working because they have this weird drunken roommate.
The doctor says, Hindley, you're gonna die, so nice knowing you. I'm not stopping by here anymore. Isabella, your sister-in-law, she is also dying from non-alcohol related symptoms.
Heathcliff finds out. He rushes off to be by her side. At her deathbed, she confesses that she loves him.
Kathy, you loved me. What right to throw love away for the poor fancy thing you felt for him?
We'd be poor, but we'd be happy. Guess you should have thought about that one.
I hope Edgar doesn't walk in on this. He'll just stand there wringing his prissy little hands and pretty much do nothing, but it won't be good. He takes her to the window to gaze at the moors one more time.
How beautiful.
Oh yes, revenge. Toss! And she dies.
Heathcliff begs her to haunt him for the rest of his life because he would rather have a ghost freaking him out than to be without her.
No, haunt me, Kathy. Haunt me.
No, me. I'm your husband.
I'm the doctor, and I saw you perishing. I'm the one who should be haunted. Ellen finishes the story. The old doctor comes in, he says, I saw him walking with a woman, but when I caught up to him, he was lying on the ground dead, and there was no woman around. And Ellen's like, oh, you know who that was, right? It's Kathy. Now they're ghosts together. Not minding the snow at all, because they're ghosts, and they don't have nerve endings.
Out on the wily, windy moors, we'd roll and fall in green. You had a temper like my jealousy. How could you leave me when I needed to possess you? Those are the lyrics of the Kate Bush song, Wuthering Heights. Has there ever been a romantic tragedy with characters so flawed as these?
There has been. You know, Pride and Prejudice is named after the two flaws of the romantic leads, but they overcome those.
Right.
She doesn't overcome her jealousy. He doesn't overcome his temper and his rage.
Certainly not. It's quite an odd tragedy, because usually when you think romantic tragedy, you think of lovers that are torn apart by circumstance. But these two really are the engineers of their own tragedy. And also victims of the British class system, which is sort of tears them apart right from the beginning.
He's like less than nothing. He's a foreign orphan.
But that's not their only flaws, though. I mean, Heathcliff is weak-willed. Mm-hmm. She's completely flighty and capricious, and these people are nothing but flaws. Mm-hmm. Why do we even care about them getting together in the first place?
Yeah, but we do.
We do,
Yeah, because it's really passionate.
It seems almost like a fairy tale. They live on this storybook landscape.
Mm-hmm. Which they make even more storybook with their fantasy games.
Right.
But people who have a tendency towards that fantasy, I imagine, would also set themselves up for romantic tragedy. That they probably have romanticized life without each other so much.
The longing and the suffering and the misery is just as romantic as the love.
Because they're a couple of goth kids.
Literally goth kids, because it's a gothic novel.
Yeah.
Life is hunger and pain. That's what Heathcliff says
at
one point. And I think that's a pretty good thesis statement for this story.
Mm-hmm. From what I understand, this movie version of it is only the first third of the book. Heathcliff goes on in his life, rampaging, cursing, revenging. We only know half the story here. Throughout the movie, there were walls blocking off part of the shots, windows which you're peering through. What do you think that all means?
With these characters, there's nothing but barriers thrown up every time they want something. And everything is just out of reach. I don't know if you noticed this, but in this story, Chekhov's gun is introduced and never fired.
That's true.
I prefer that he have it by him always as a reminder of his cowardice.
That's such a weird thing to throw out there and not have come back.
Yeah.
Maybe it does in the novel.
Possibly it does, yeah.
Let's talk about production a little bit, because there are some juicy stories. Olivier and Oberon hated each other. Witnesses recall Oberon scolding Olivier for accidentally spitting on her during a particularly romantic balcony scene. Oberon shouted to Wyler, "Tell him to stop spitting at me." Olivier retorted by shouting, "What's a little spit, for Christ's sake, between actors? You bloody little idiot! How dare you speak to me?" Oberon ran crying from the set, and Wyler insisted Olivier apologize to her, which upset Olivier greatly.
Acting. And what is a little bit of spit? If you're going to enunciate, you're going to get a little bit of spit on you.
Tona, tell him to stop spitting at me!
What, you little idiot? What's a little spit between friends?
Will you be joining the Bronte Society?
I don't see why I shouldn't. I have all the paperwork right there in that box.
Well, that was Wuthering Heights. A lot more tragic than your life probably is, so you should be happy. And watch it, if you haven't seen it.
And then you'll be sad.
In the meantime, come in out of that rainstorm before you die of sickness. And come on into WelcomeToTheBasementShow.com, our website. You can go there any old time you want, 24 hours a day. It doesn't close down. The internet doesn't work that way. And you can also make a donation in the PayPal donation fund. It's a good thing to do with your vast fortune that you've inherited from your ancestors. Recent donors include Susan, who writes, "Really loved the show this year. Thank you, Matt and Craig." Paul, Michael, Jared, Christian, who writes, "I don't often watch movies myself, but I love listening to the two of you discussing a subject that you obviously care passionately about." And Krister, or Christer, who says, "Keep up the good work. Cheers from Norway." Thank you for your donations. Thank you for watching. Thank you for doing all that you do. And now I will have my revenge with Seen It!
Seen It!
The theme for Seen It tonight is Oscar bait. The Oscars are right around the corner, and we're not done talking about those Oscar-nominated movies just yet.
Jack Berkeley and Kate Stone said that they love Nebraska. Seen It.
Seen It.
I loved it too. That might be my favorite movie that's nominated for Best Picture. Very few people have even attempted to capture what Midwestern life is like, and watching portions of that movie seemed like this really in-depth documentary about how people talk in the middle part of the country.
I really don't like movies that condescend to the Midwest and to Midwest culture. There were times when I thought this movie was doing that, and I sort of withdrew from it a little bit, but I think it was because that it rang a little too true. You and I, having grown up in this region, have had a lot of times of just sitting and watching television in silence rather than talking and growing.
Bruce Dern, I think, gives a performance of the year in that movie. and of his lifetime. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Jack Grace. The best movie I saw in the theater was The Wolf of Wall Street. Seen it.
Seen it.
I think a lot of people seem to translate their dislike for the characters in the movie into dislike of the movie, which seems to me misguided. I think it's an amazing movie. It's propulsive and kinetic, and I was just fascinated the whole way through.
And that Scorsese can find new ways of keeping that manic energy that he's always had. They could have cut 15 minutes out of the film by just, in 3 lines, they could have said, yeah.
Yes, they could have made it shorter, but at the same time, they could have made it an hour longer, and it still would have been just as fascinating for me. I really liked it. Kyle Brunet writes, best, Her. Seen it.
Seen it.
Unexpected twist on the idea that technology makes us less connected to each other.
Yeah. Because
here's a story where technology allows a person to make a completely unique and profound connection in a totally unexpected way.
Love the world that Spike Jonze created.
Yep.
And the costumes and the modes of transportation. Everything seemed like it was much more real than everyone just dressing in jumpsuits in the future with a V on the chest.
Right.
Also, I think that it is secretly a horror movie. If you look closely towards the end of the movie, more and more people are walking alone. Everyone has taken on the earbud. Everyone has the operating system as their closest companion. You get to see kind of an invasion of the body snatchers from the point of view of someone who's been snatched and how they love it.
And I think the message of the ending is that, no matter how much people moan about, technology is pushing us further apart from each other, that eventually technology can only go so far, and that ultimately we will always come together in meaningful ways, finding solace in each other. And that's always going to happen.
And on occasion, they will just look up and see the world for as beautiful as it is.
Yeah. Leo Logan writes, best, American Hustle. Seen it.
Seen it.
American Hustle is a movie that is a little hard to get a handle on at first, because the story definitely does not hold your hand. You really have to pay attention and figure out what's going on. I wasn't crazy about it when I first started watching it, the first hour of it, but when I got to the end of the movie, I wanted to turn around and watch it again right away.
And they used Christian Bale's Baleosity to the movie's advantage. Oh, this guy isn't the good guy. Of course he's a weasel. Look at him. He's played by Christian Bale.
He's got a bad comb-over.
He's got the gut. There's just something intrinsically unlikable about Christian Bale. He's very odd because he is a superstar that no one really likes, it seems. And so every movie he has to earn our respect and our love because he looks like a yuppie serial killer. We realize going through the movie that he's the hero, just as his own character realizes eventually that he's the hero of the story. And so that's Seen It.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us on this darkly romantic journey that we took today. We hope that you'll check out Wuthering Heights, and hey, read the book too. Books are still popular.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey ya, hey ya.
Shake it, shake it, shake it.
Shake it like a silver nitrate daguerreotype.
I bring this house down in ruins about your heads. That's my curse on you.